A government agency has debunked the practicality of Catherine McKenna's subsidy program for electric cars, but being told something was a bad or dumb idea has never stopped these liberals before. The liberals are now sponsoring the lifestyle choices of rich hippies. These new handouts for electric cars come from a pool of $300 million that will be managed and dished out by Transport Canada. This whole scheme is part of the Liberals' wild-eyed goal to make 100% of all vehicles sold in Canada by 2040 the zero emissions sort. But a new report obtained by the investigators at Blacklock's Reporter debunks the efficacy of the Liberals' handout scheme, pointing to the unreliability and complete impracticality of electric cars in our Canadian climate. Here is some of the story Blacklock's has. Now, this whole story is behind a paywall, and that is how Blacklock's pays their bills, because they say they won't ever take a penny from Justin Trudeau's media bailout, and good for them. Here we go. Electric vehicles cost too much and are unreliable in winter conditions, says a Crown agency. The analysis by Defence Research and Development Canada contradicts a $5,000 federal rebate program to promote sales of electric passenger cars. The purchase of hybrid vehicles would be difficult to justify on cost alone, said the agency's report. Feasibility of hybrid diesel-electric powertrains for light tactical vehicles. It is not clear the fuel savings would compensate for the increased upfront costs over the lifespan of the vehicle. Feasibility noted that while the U.S. Army has experimented with hybrid vehicles since 1998, it is cost prohibitive. The issue of reduced battery capacity at low temperatures is well known, wrote researchers. To make this problem worse, unlike lead acid, lithium-ion batteries have problems charging below 0 degrees Celsius. Oh, isn't that funny? So just like windmills and solar panels, it seems that electric cars need to have fossil fuel backup too, at least during inclement weather, which is about 50% of all weather we experience here in Canada. Let's go on. In the article, the research detailed international studies that worldwide electrics account for only 0.2% of all vehicles on the road, and that annual growth rates have been decreasing since 2011. So the Liberals, armed with this research in hand, the way so many true believers in socialism feel about it every time it fails, that this time they will be the ones to get it right. And then they subsidized electric cars. In the Liberals' latest budget, Liberals offered federal incentives of up to $5,000 on 27 models of electric cars. But besides handing out taxpayer-funded subsidies and calling them by the Orwellian newspeak term incentives, the Liberals went one step further. They are also increasing the price cap on the value of the vehicle that the incentives could apply to. Just look at this CBC article. The rebates announced in the last Liberal budget will take up to $5,000 off the cost of electric vehicles and $2,500 off plug-in hybrids. But they initially applied only to cars that cost less than $45,000. Ottawa, read the Liberals, is raising that to $55,000 to increase the options a buyer can choose and still receive the rebate, which will allow some of the most popular cars, including the Tesla Model 3, to qualify. Tesla recently launched a cheaper Model 3 in Canada with a 150-kilometer range to qualify for the previous limit. Wow, did you catch that there? Perennial subsidy queen electric companies like Tesla are so reliant on taking cash out of our pockets just to be able to sell their cars that nobody really wants, that now they are structuring models and designing cars around the ability to have their customers qualify for these government handouts. What a gross business model. What all of this means, of course, is that while Canadian families like yours and mine are making tough choices about how and when we can even afford to drive the cars we already own, as gas gets more expensive with a nationwide carbon tax and a carbon tax hopefully soon to be repealed here in Alberta, the Liberals decided to throw preening subsidies at rich people who don't need them in the first place to drive around their feel-good cars to reach emissions targets that are insane and completely unattainable. And all of this was done to us in a budget ironically named Investing in the Middle Class. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Silicon Valley and big tech have this terrible habit of deplatforming and unpersoning conservatives on the internet. At the Rebel, we have a way around that. We have a new Rebel Media mobile app. You can download it on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Download it, give it a try, and help fight big tech censorship against conservatives wherever you go.